Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're famous. Okay, good morning everybody and thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce Elsie Dorsey Rathe. And she was a Dunkerton girl for a long time, and she's back today to tell us about her mom and how her mom flew rubber-powered airplanes. So thanks for coming, Elsie.
Okay.
And be prepared for technical difficulties. We had this all figured out 2 weeks ago, and we come today and nothing. So.
So I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming. I hope I can speak clear enough so you can hear me. I raised 4 boys on a farm, let me tell you. They can hear me, so yeah. So, aeromodeling, rubber-powered airplanes. I grew up flying rubber band airplanes. My mom always encouraged me to do that, and I didn't understand why. As she got older, and I was the youngest of 5 kids, I think I got a different relationship with her because I had her alone, and we had uninterrupted time, and I got to hear lots more stories. And I got to hear the whole stories, you know, what was going on. The one thing I learned is life is a journey, because we never know where we're going, what we're going to learn as kids, and what we're going to apply. And so that was definitely lived. I had challenges when we were growing up, or after I got married and farming, you know, and nothing like the earlier generations went through. And if you think about the Depression, the Dust Bowl, World War II, Korean conflict, it's like, think of everything they went through. And, but they still took time to enjoy life. Mom talked about ice skating on a pond in their yard. They even found pictures of her doing that. She swam competitively, believe it or not. And she loved doing the Scottish sword dance. She was Scotch-Irish. And I thought, what? And you see those Scottish dancers that do the straight up and down? That's Irish. Hell, let me tell you, there's no difference. The sword dance is where they cross the swords, lay them down, and then they dance around on those. And like, she actually did it a few times for me. So, and the other thing she talked about was aeromodeling. And then she told me she won an award at the Jimmy Allen Air Race. And I said, what? What is that? So let's go back. Since the Wright brothers, they flew in 1903. We'll get the history lesson here. Does anybody remember how far they flew?
120 feet.
Hey! Do we have cookies? So that was the 120 feet, and it was 1903. But the making model airplanes, aeromodeling, took off shortly after that. And it didn't take long for them to ask the question, who's the best? You know, of course, guys love competition, but I like competition too. But the first national competition was in Britain in 1907. And I found the flight from this Dr. Dieter one at 149 feet, 6 inches, which is farther than the Wright brothers flew. I thought that's kind of cool. So there are more youth. At first it was men, now it went down to youth. And by 1911 it was called free flight because there was no gas engine involved. And the models were powered by a strip of elastic. And I have visions of white elastic, but we'll get to see that later. But it wasn't a rubber band yet. And so then they did competitions, and there was no real thing, but in America, the St. Louis Air Show was these regular planes. They would fly about 10 miles back, and these were 50-foot pylons, and that's how they competed and see who was the best pilot. And so they took over and started having the aeromodeling competition there. The first year was 27 entries and only 12 competed. We don't know if they broke, if the planes didn't work or what, but that's all they had. This is from the American Boy magazine in 1930. You can see in the middle, you can see models of the boys doing their stuff, and they were starting to break records already at that point. But of course, it was expensive to hold competitions, especially heading into 1930, the Depression. So what do? More boys. They're very proud of their planes. They were serious about it. So the ones I flew were all balsa wood. They were tiny strips. You can see little pieces of wood with cloth over them. So, and they even got to meet, the winners got to meet President Hoover on the White House lawn. And of course, where's he from? West Branch, Iowa, yep. And it was very serious. Look at the banquet. That was serious business, and they got to eat out. This is 1941.
2 months old.
How old were you?
2 months.
Oh, well. But again, in 1942, they canceled it because of World War II. So it didn't take long. By 1946, they went back and they started competing again. And they did it in Wichita, Kansas. And it was all done by volunteers. You can see in the air, they're actually on the airport runway. You can see the plane going over top. So, by 1947, you know, between this and that, here in 47, they were starting to get overwhelmed. There were like up to 1,200 competitors. And if you're volunteering and all these people come in, what do you do with them all? You know, it was getting to be too much. So, 1948, the Navy took over. Does anybody know how to say Olathe or Olathe?
Olathe.
Olathe? It's, the first one is at the Olathe, the air base, the Navy base in Kansas. And they again had 1,200 competitors show up. So it was a big deal. And within a short time, they figured out they were gonna rotate, so they rotated to different air bases around the country for the competition. And the naval air stations continued until 1972. I know it. And at 1972, the EAA took over. Does anybody know what that is?
Oh, no.
What? EAA? Yeah, it's
Experimental
coming.
Aviation Association.
You are good. Experimental Aircraft Association, which, has anybody been to Oshkosh and their air shows? Sometimes, there's one in Iowa too, and it might be by Des Moines. But they have all these planes and competitions, and it's still going on, but it's by the EAA. So, I'm a visual person, so I can talk all I want, but we're gonna flip over and have Rhonda's computer, maybe. There we go. So you can actually see a video of what they did, and this is from 1930. And there's 3 national competitions, one from Ireland, one from Paris, Australia's the other one.
Daredevil pilots of the future line up for their own air pageant with their own machine. It's the first show to be organised by the Irish Junior Aviation Club, and the flying ground is at Phoenix Park.
Can you hear?
And you know, even a model plane has to be in tip-top tune.
Look at them line that up.
The first one's away on a magnificent flight. Number 2 takes off, and hundreds of youthful hearts stop beating while it's in the air. A real dandy, a pickaback plane. Model flying is the thrill of thrills.
Things get a bit thick at the start. These spacecraft do all that a big plane does. They nosedive and soar, bank and turn. It's plain to see these youngsters have the right grip on things. And here's the most realistic thrill of all. Wonderful Model C planes that actually taxi off the water. Their only means of locomotion is stranded elastic attached to the propeller from the fuselage. Note it floats with trailing steps and everything. Now the takeoff. Once they gain the higher air currents, so perfectly balanced are they that they fly for sometimes as long as 40 minutes. They fly all right, even the propellers buzz. Over the hills and far away. And another epic flight has been recorded. So he's gone, poor fellow, after a starving life and a pair of goggles. But what's a fatality to these hardened sons of the clouds? Their life is full of ups and downs. Keep your eye on this little bus. Up, up, higher yet. Even Smithy could hardly do better. Out of the clouds, down with the grace of a bird. Perfect landing. He's won his wings. They appear out of the nowhere in swarms and soon start on what sometimes proves to be a long flight out over the Pacific. Away she goes, higher and higher. Flying blind, that's all he's doing. The last time this kid was sighted, he was passing through Bathurst, still running.
The Model Airplane Club of France holds its national championships. And apparently these machines will do everything bar take their owners up for a flight. Flying is getting into young Britain's blood. If they can't take to the sky, they let off their enthusiasm with models. But make no mistake about it, these aren't those snobbish, power-driven ones, my dear. A piece of elastic is all that takes them up and keeps them there, somewhere. The amazing thing is that out of 300 entries, at least 5 proved so high they got into the thermal current.
I just think I learn more by seeing than doing. I have a very old computer. My new one crashed when we were doing it a couple weeks ago. So. What?
It's a lot newer than mine.
Okay. And actually, competition still continues. June of next year, there's one in Moscow, Idaho. And then July is a competition in East State, Tennessee University. I have a granddaughter that goes to college there. But going back, where's the Iowa connection? I gave you all the history and all that stuff. Let's roll it back. And so, there's my mom again. She grew up in East Des Moines, and she attended East High. And their motto was East High against the world, because in Des Moines, the only high school was on the east side of town was hers. All the other high schools were on the better side of town. It was a lower income side of town. So I always giggled because we always, at Dunkerton, always got no identity on the TV and the news with our sports. We always felt like we were against the world, so yeah. So one of her stories was that she won a medal for rubber-powered aeromodel at the Jimmy Allen Air Race. So Jimmy Allen, yeah, sure, I can figure he's a famous pilot. Well, kind of. Who is Jimmy Allen? Well, this is Jimmy Allen. And so he was a pilot, but with no TV, radio in the evenings was a high point. Jimmy Allen was a 16-year-old pilot who solved mysteries. He was a radio show on WWII in Des Moines.
Oh.
And I thought that was cool. The show actually played from 1933 to 1937. And as you see, slowly, going back to the pictures, you could start seeing girls coming in the 30s type thing. But Mom was one of few that got to race, So, but she said she had won a medal and so forth, so I found the picture. This was a 1937 Jimmy Allen Air Race in Des Moines, Iowa, backed by Skelly, which there used to be a Skelly in Reedland. Was there one in Dunkerton? Was that the Wellner station had a Skelly?
No.
Nope. Okay, that was right, that's right. So that's her medal. It says Jimmy Allen Air Race, and that's a ticket for Colonel Roscoe Turner. And I thought that was kind of cool. Is he a real pilot or what, you know? But it's all punched. She took the ride. Roscoe Turner was a famous pilot. He won 3 of those huge air races at the Thompson Trophy. It was a 10-mile race and 50-foot pylons, and he won that 3 times. He was known as very handsome and dashing, and he actually had a lion for a pet, so everybody loved him. So that's kind of weird. So, what?
Love him or get eaten.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say, how do you keep them tame? So then there's one more piece of her story. I blew up the picture, that's the Skelly thing. Does anybody recognize the guy with the white shirt tail hanging out?
Oh, is it Reagan? Oh, it's Reagan.
It's Ronald Reagan. She said Ronald Reagan was the announcer at WHO. And I thought, are you kidding me? Well, he was there from 1933 to 37. And this is a large picture of that thing. So we do have a picture of him. And there he is standing on the front steps of East High in Des Moines. And so radio shows were very different back then. He traveled all over and he was a sports announcer. And a lot of times it was Cub games. His audition to get on WHO in Des Moines, he had to sit down behind a speaker and have a completely fictitious football game, all 4 quarters, and announce it like he was seeing the game type thing, and that was his audition. So obviously he did a good job. So let me see if we can, I found some podcasts. Let's see, this is a long show. Nope. Okay, we're gonna have Rhonda play with a speaker. I found a podcast. He can tell you in his own story. You can connect. I don't know if you need to disconnect. Yeah. It was someone had to give the see the game, have this, what happened, go back and send it by telegraph to somebody in WHO. WHO would hand it underneath a window to him, and then he'd describe what was going on at the game. But let's see if we can get that going for you, because that podcast is kind of fun.
A podcast series hosted by the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute. Each week, we'll share some of the wit and wisdom of Ronald Reagan.
Oops.
Oh, sorry.
We expected problems, so yeah. This is your 7th inning stretch.
Yeah.
Just come over here. All right, come back to life here. Turn the speaker over here. The microphone, yeah. When all else fails.
Words to live by, made up of radio addresses and speeches he delivered from the 1960s through the 1980s.
Can you hear it?
Well, most people know that Ronald Reagan was an actor. Many forget that he began as a sports announcer. He spent 4 years at WHO in Des Moines.
Oh, nope, that didn't
And
work.
he said they were among the most pleasant of his life. At age 22, he believed he had achieved his dream. His salary? $75 a week. And he had enough money to help his parents, whose financial circumstances had gone from bad to worse because Jack had heart troubles that left him unable to work. During those 4 years in Des Moines, he attended an endless number of football games, auto races, track tournaments, and swimming meets. And through the magic of radio, hundreds of Chicago Cubs and Chicago White Sox games, which he broadcast from the studio in Des Moines. In the press box at Wrigley Field, or wherever the team played, a telegrapher tapped out a report in Morse code following each pitch and each play in the game. Then, Ronald Reagan sat at a microphone in the studio across from another telegraph operator with a pair of earphones wrapped around his head. After each play, he decoded a burst of dots and dashes from the stadium and typed out a few words describing the play and handed it to Reagan through a slot in the sheet of glass between them. His job then was to describe the play as if he'd been in the press box, even if the slip of paper would only say out or 4-3. 4 was second base, 3 was first, so it was a grounder to second baseman who threw the batter out at first. Well, it had to be done quickly because WHO wasn't the only station covering the game. Can you imagine how difficult that had to be? Well, let's listen to the president tell the story.
One summer's day, my imagination was tested to its maximum. The Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals were locked in a scoreless ninth-inning tie. Dizzy Dean was on the mound, and the Cubs' Billy Gervais was at bat. I described Dean winding up and releasing his pitch. Then Curly, our telegraph operator, shook his head and passed me a slip of paper which said, "The wire's gone dead." Well, since I had the ball on the way to the plate, I had to get it there. I could have told our listeners the wire was dead, but it would have sent them rushing to their dials and to a competing station. So I decided to let Gervais foul off the pitch, figuring Western Union would soon fix the problem. To fill in the dead time, I described a couple of kids in the stands fighting over the foul ball. When Curly gestured that the wire was still dead, I had Gervais foul off another ball. I slowed Dean down, had him pick up the rosin bag, take a sign, shake it off, get another sign, and let him pitch. I said he fouled it off another one, but this time he just missed a home run by only a few inches. I searched Curly's face for a look of encouragement, but he shook his head. I described Dean winding up and hurling another pitch. Gervais hit a foul ball, and then another, and another. A red-headed kid in the stands retrieved one of the fouls and held up the ball to show off his trophy. By then, I was in much too deep to admit the wire was dead, so I continued to let Gervais foul Dean's pitches, and his string of foul balls went on for almost 7 minutes. I'm told someone reported his foul slugging spree as a record to Ripley's Believe It or Not column. Finally, Curly started typing again, and I suspected the wire had been restored. Relieved, I grabbed the slip of paper he handed me through the slot and read it. Gervais popped out on the first ball pitched. For days, people stopped me on the street and asked if Gervais had set a record for foul balls. I'd just say, yeah, he was there a long time. I never admitted a thing.
Or from President Reagan after.
I just thought that was cute. It's a whole different time than what we live in, that's for sure. So this will catch up with us in a minute, but I just wanted to let you know that my credits I got from the National Model Aviation Museum, the Des Moines Register Archives, the WHO Des Moines Archives, and the American Boy Magazine, so you know where I got my information from. So, are there any questions?
How old was your mother at this time?
She was 18 when they got married, and that was in 39. So it had to be 16?
Okay.
Yeah. 16 or 17, yeah. So.
When you played with your balsam airplanes, you didn't throw them, or did they have that propeller?
They had rubber bands.
Okay, I remember those.
You remember those?
I do too.
Yeah.
I didn't use them, but I would use the ones with balsam that you would toss.
You just throw it, yeah. And they used to take it in the Capitol and go up in the Capitol and you could fly and throw those without, they would let them go. Now you can't even go up there, I heard.
Bought them at the drugstore with Nani.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Nani. Yeah. Anything else? Well, this has been fun. This is my journey. You never know what you're gonna find when you start digging, you know, so I appreciate everybody's patience and kindness, so. So, thank you very much.
That was very good.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming today. If anybody's interested, the museum is open in the lower level, if you haven't been there, to see all the things that are down there.
I haven't been in the library, I haven't been in the library, I haven't been anywhere in here, so.
Well then, you're welcome
I have,
to
and my family has.
explore.
We tried once and it was closed, and so I
It's
haven't
nice.
I kind of do, I'm working on genealogy and stuff a little
Okay.
bit and trying to get the story. I have to go back and get the papers that match. I found a place that I did, Dean's side is in the 1600s, but I haven't worked in much on that, but I've got down to the Roman times for the young side of my mother's family.
Really?
But you gotta go back and double check the paperwork, cause there's people that make jumps, it's not real. And I thought, they can't find it, I'm not a believer, so I'm not saying I got that all the way back yet, but, yeah.
And so, are you retired from?
I'm very retired, I was registered nurse for 45 years.
Yeah, just like I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, because you had to take some time to get this done.
A
And I'm
little
looking
bit.
for a hobby since I'm gonna be retired in 2 months.
Oh, you're gonna retire, congratulations. But you should, I can give you a website for family if you want, it's a free
Jim,
website.
don't say that too loud.
They'll find jobs for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't build anything, ask Ross.
But you were always fun in school. So, yeah.
Nice.
But I'll give you the website I use for family if you want. It's a free website and see what you can find, yeah.
So your mom's heartstrings were, I mean, did she talk about, was she a science? in
She
high
loved science, she
school?
really pushed science, and it was always music too, because that was her thing, she was a child prodigy. And she was supposed to go to, school in, Juilliard School of Music, but she ended up being the one that had to work, because her father and grandfather couldn't. The grandfather gave them a lot of, shoes and stuff, but she talked about wearing cardboard for the soles of putting them inside the soles of the feet to make it last longer. But she ended up being a nanny, and so she supported the family of 5 kids, with her salary.
And where did she play, did she play organ?
She played organ, she played piano, she played accordion, she played violin. Yeah.
She played right here.
So I mean, it's like, she could read music and put it, she had one song, it was a black key mazurka. It was completely on black keys and it went fast. We all just like, no mom, we're not gonna do that, okay? But she did, yeah, and you were singing too high, oh, good, I'll drop it down. And she'll drop it down 3 notes or 2 notes so everybody could hit the high notes. And it was just a gift. She was good at contests, when we went and sang at contests or music, yeah. But it was hard to be her daughters, because I played baritone, each of us had to have an instrument. And my bedroom was, our house was a white house, but now it's blue. It was up, and my bedroom was up the steps, all the way around the hallway to the very end. I got the smallest room, which I was happy, because I could be alone, nobody bothered me. But she was downstairs in the kitchen, which was clear around downstairs. If I hit a wrong note, baritone, she started on the bottom and yelled all the way up the steps, and I had missed the note. It was like, okay, yeah. Very much a perfectionist, yeah.
She made my dad an apple pie every year,
Oh,
every
yes.
season.
She loved
Brought it up, and we loved, they loved having that, but she made a wonderful pie, and we did, my mother did too, but they waited for that apple pie.
We did like 20 or 30 pies at a time.
Yes, you did,
She
and they grew
loved
it up,
it.
yes.
Yeah, I absolutely loved cooking. Yep,
That's a lot of work to make 30 pounds.
it was. We got good at crust and get them thin and
Oh,
get
it
them
was
fluted.
a wonderful pie she made, she really did.
Thank you.
She was way into crafts too, remember for
Yes.
Bible school?
Yes,
We did crafts.
you always
for
had something
years.
going. Yep,
Yeah, well, I look forward to that.
yep. And I still have her flannel graphs and I've used them many, many times and stuff for all the Bible stories and stuff, yeah.
I spent a summer being tutored by Katherine.
Yes.
Because I was not a good math student.
Oh, okay.
And she was just a nice person.
Was she?
Because I hated being there, but she was always the first one there and said, now you can do this. Now you can do this, Jimmy. You can do this.
Catherine's a brain, yeah, too,
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But it was your mother that would say, I can do
Oh,
this.
yes, she never
Catherine-
gave up on
Catherine-
Catherine was a brain, yeah.
Catherine was so
Yeah.
nice to me, but she knew I didn't have it.
She really good at
I did not have it. She was nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was like,
I know it. You
but your
had
mom
it
was
in-
just so sweet. And
Yeah.
she was always there every day to say, now you can do this. You can do this. I said, okay.
You never gave up on her, no.
We to this day, if we're in church and we're singing and it's quite slow, we always go, where is Mrs. Dorsey? Step
it up a little.
She would just put that out.
Yeah, you hate to see dirges. Yeah.
The last time I talked to your mom, I was at Skip Shimp's memorial.
Yeah.
And I think she had played, and then she came down, I think there was a reception, and she came up to me and said, "They tell me you're Jimmy Gerrans." And I said, "It is me." And she just gave me the biggest hug.
Oh.
So sweet.
She never forgot you. You know, even the kids, she never forgot. She knew which kid, you know, she may not recognize my face, but she knew which kid, yeah. She never lost the niceness at the nursing home. Some people get cranky and stuff, but she was happy the whole time. In fact, she told my sister Katherine that she looked a lot like her daughter, but a whole lot older. That didn't go over very well. So, thank you for the memories. I appreciate that.
Elsie, who are your other siblings?
Tom is the oldest.
Okay.
He is 85, going on 86. And then he's in Rhinebeck. I have brother Chuck in Nebraska, in Lincoln. And I have, then Katherine, the sister, is in Marion. And then Dawn's in Colo by Des Moines and that, yeah.
Viola Dawn.
Yeah, she didn't like the viola.
No, she
It had a bad initial to it. Yeah, yeah. Good.
That's nice.
Thank you.